poor video quality can reduce your perceived competence and make people trust you less. I'm going to show you a few simple steps you can take for your video calls to take them from this to this, or even from this to this, so your clients won't subconsciously lose confidence in you and your abilities. To show you that you don't need a fancy camera or studio, I'm gonna switch over to my internal laptop camera in my living room to show you how a few simple tweaks and one cheap light can substantially improve the quality of your video calls, even on a basic camera. Let's start with this terrible common setup in an at-home environment and show you how to diagnose and fix the issues. The first thing to think about is camera angle. You want to shoot at a neutral angle that is not too high and not too low. A common mistake is where people put a laptop on a desk or a table and then angle the camera upward like this. Psychologically, an upward camera angle makes the subject appear to be more looming, domineering, and aggressive, which can subconsciously make a viewer feel uncomfortable. So to solve this issue, put the laptop on a box, books, or other platform so the camera is about parallel with your eye line. For this situation, I found a basket that is just the right height and put my laptop on it to get a good camera angle. Similarly, having a high camera angle is also bad because it psychologically makes the subject appear small, weak, and inferior, which can subconsciously erode a viewer's confidence and trust in the subject. This is often an issue when there's a webcam mounted on top of a monitor that then points down on the subject. Find a way to bring this camera down to eye level. Next is framing. You want to be center frame and fill just the right amount of the frame. Being too close can make the viewer feel claustrophobic, and being too far away makes you seem small, weak, and distant. Move the camera or yourself so you fill just the right amount of the frame. Next is lighting. A first thing to consider is that cameras love light. Look at this starting image, which is grainy with terrible color and unflattering shadows. And now take a look at this image using the same camera, but with improved lighting, which makes the subject look much better, improves clarity of the image, and makes the color more vibrant. Also, cameras love even lighting, so try to avoid having things in frame that are too bright or too dark, like lights or windows, and also avoid having large dark areas as well. Your camera will try to adjust to compensate for these bright or dark areas, which in turn will ruin the video quality and make the subject appear too bright or too dark. To improve your lighting, start with how you are being lit. The one light I suggest people invest in is at least a basic light for lighting yourself. A cheap ring light like this is a good choice, and features I look for are the ability to brighten and dim the light, along with changing the color to be neutral white or warmer yellow. I'll leave a link to this light down in the description below, which was around 35 bucks. More advanced are larger lights with softboxes, which can provide even and more flattering light with more control. But spending a lot of money on expensive lights is absolutely not necessary. A free option could be to use lights you already have around the house or natural light from a window. Let's go ahead and add my ring light to this frame. As you can see, this provides much more even lighting coverage to my face and helps reduce strange shadows, but now it looks like I'm in some sort of deep dark cave, which is not good either. We then move to lighting the background so the frame is more evenly lit. Here I'll start by turning up all the lights in the room to brighten up the background for more even lighting. This is close, but I'm still a little too bright, so we can reduce the intensity of the ring light a bit or move it farther away from me to make the frame more evenly lit. Another option is to add even more light to the background, and what I'll do for meetings sometimes in my living room is put up an LED panel light to brighten the wall behind me so I can keep the ring light as bright as possible and give the camera the most light as possible, along with giving it an even frame to maximize video quality. I'll put a link down in the description below to the lights that I use, but keep in mind that fancy expensive lights are not necessary to kick it up a notch. Now let's take a look at the before and after. The properly lit frame makes the subject look much better and improves the quality and color of the video, and the proper camera angle makes the subject look much more professional. As you can see, some minor tweaks and a cheap ring light can make a huge difference, but let's take a quick look at what the next level of a video setup could look like and switch back to the studio. Here's the final look with all the lights on, which is still a work in progress, but let me show you how I got here and the lights that I'm using. Here's what it looks like with the natural light and the overhead room light, which looks absolutely terrible. So to have maximum control over lighting and not be subject to changes in natural light at different times of day and year, we start with a nearly blacked out room by covering the window in front of me and turning off the crappy overhead light. We then build the lighting setup starting with the light for me, the subject, which is known as the key light. I'm using a 100-watt cob light with a large parabolic softbox that has a grid. And this light serves the same purpose as the ring light in my living room setup, but the large surface area of the softbox provides a much more even lighting than the smaller ring light. And the purpose of the grid on the front is to reduce excess spill light on the background, so I have better independent control of the lighting of the background. I like to position my key light high and just off of center from the camera to provide a bit of shadow on one side of my face for kind of more of a cinematic look, but not so much of a shadow that it makes it dramatic and moody and loses the professional look that I'm going for. Next, I add what's called a hair or rim light, which is a light that provides a bit of lighting around my edges, which helps separate and differentiate me from the background. It's a subtle difference, but something that helps give the image a more polished look. I'm using the same LED panel light I discussed in the living room setup on a boom arm, so it's out of frame, and I open up the barn doors and light, so I get some light spill on the background. I like the aesthetic of some color in the background and found that the color actually shows up better on a dark background, so I painted the walls in this room black. Let's go ahead and add some color. I'm using a couple of tube lights with some contrasting colors to add some color on the edges of the frame and on opposing sides of the bookcase behind me. Along with some intellectual property books and my best-selling book, Patents Demystified, I have a plant and a clear light bulb on a dimmer to add something of interest in the background. I'll leave links to all the gear I use down in the description, and let me know if you have any questions about lighting or these setups in the comments.